Leo, a very warm welcome. My name's Drew. This is Modern Tarot. This is a reading for the last couple of weeks of October, guys. So I hope you're doing well. I hope the summer has been fantastic. Coming into the fall now, into October. See what's around the corner for you, Leo. What's coming up, what to watch out for. Some nice surprises along the way, hopefully. Those of you that are new here, welcome. And those of you returning, welcome back. So let's have a look. Leo, one more shuffle. We're going to go straight into this reading. Might have a choice in love, just for some of you, okay? Okay, Leo, the undercurrent of the last couple of weeks of October for you guys is all about freeing yourself, okay? Freeing yourself from mental slavery, mental prisons, situations, people, places, and things, okay? You're freeing yourself up in order to make better judgments, if that makes sense, all right? Yeah, center of the reading, okay, dropping competition and drama, okay? So for you, Leos, you're not about drama the last couple of weeks of October. You're not out there to compete with people. You're not out there for drama and gossip, all right? The challenge that you might have, we got the King of Cups in reverse, okay? This came out for another sign just now. Just for some of you, if it's about love, you don't want to compete for somebody's time, care, and attention. Somebody that might have been a little bit emotionally manipulative. I'm just saying, okay? It's a challenge, all right? And you don't want to compete for somebody's time, care, and attention, okay? Yeah, because you're kind of like leaving the past behind. So for a lot of you guys, Leo, you might start to feel a lot more freer from situations. Might have messed with your emotions a little bit, but you're not about drama and fighting. You're not about competing for, maybe someone that isn't worth it to you anymore. You freed yourself, Leo, okay? And recent past, it was a decision that you had to make, You thought, is this it? Is this good enough? Is this how it should be? We've got the Two of Wands here. And if you look closely at this card, guys, if you can see it, but the Two of Wands, it's almost like a mini page of wands. He's hanging on to one wand. He knows where he's been with the other wand, so it's a decision-making process. And he's got the world in his hands. There's something else out there. And I think you've decided to free yourself, okay? Yeah, your focus, Leo, is all about cutting things out. Anything that is disingenuous, dishonest, okay? So, if you're in a state of confusion, it's the number one red flag. Confusion normally spells some form of manipulation. And you're not about that. You're not about people trying to make you jealous. You're not about people that are trying to mess with your emotions. Leo, you really are I'm cutting it out. Okay, I've made a decision here. Because maybe it's, non-reciprocity there, a lack of give and take. Is it fair? Am I giving too much to situations, not getting a lot back, Your energetic field, all right? Some of you guys, you might be focused on the home. Some of you might be thinking of moving. You're not feeling that stable where you're living and the environment where you're living. So that might be quite key. You might start a thought process there after thinking long and hard. You know what? Is it time to move? Okay. But this is your energetic field. Four of Wands in reverse. Some of you might be, giving up on relationships. Okay. Outside influences, just watch out. Okay. When you decide to stop fighting for certain things, it can trigger people's responses to that, Leo. So just watch out for manipulation. If someone's games aren't working anymore, you've made a decision and you're cutting it out. The aftermath of that is they might switch it up a little bit, okay? So just watch out for there's a King of Cups here in reverse, all right? Your fears, we've got the Empress in reverse. Will I ever meet the one? Okay. Am I loving myself by staying in situations too long, Leo? And the outcome for you, last couple of weeks of October, is coming out of confusion. Okay. This is no longer an option. It's messed with my emotions for some of you. Not a personal reading. Remember, I want to leave the past behind. In the recent past, I have been trying to make a decision to do this. Okay, let's have a look. I want to clarify now, so stick around, guys. Why are you dropping burdens, competition, and all these kind of things? Five of Wands, right? That's no drama. Drama-free zone. Was that Mary J. Blige? No more drama. Was that Mary J. Blige? Let's have a look. Why is that the center of Leo's reading, October 17th to the 31st? Why is that here? Yeah, just burdensome. Nine of Wands. Yeah, okay. People trying to make you jealous, messing with your emotions, all these kind of things. You've no time for it throughout the last couple of weeks of October. It's only 2 weeks, guys. Remember, you can all turn around. It's not the end of relationships. For some of you, it might be. But it just makes you feel burdened, this competing. So, King of Cups in reverse, Page of Pentacles. Just for some of you, children might be involved for a select few of you, might be an age difference for some of you as well. But, for a very select few, I just had a little flash there. Somebody might be using children in a situation which is it's not very nice, and it does happen often, but somebody might be using children as a form of ammunition, or using the children to get through to somebody, if that makes sense, just for a select few. Yeah, you're forgetting the past, Leo, throughout. You're keeping it moving now, all right? You've made decisions to cut things out. You're going to be quite decisive throughout the last couple of weeks of October. Anything that's kind of like damaged your confidence, it's taken away rather than adding to your life. Yeah, and you know what? This decision that you made, you realize that, it's a major decision. Major arcana here, the Tower. You know that there's going to be repercussions, and it might cause tower moments, but I think it's a good tower moment, Leo, because it's almost like, you're prepared to cut anything out that's not in line with who you are anymore. Yeah, look at this. This is your focus, okay? You're cutting out anything, Leo. You're not to be messed with last couple of weeks of October. Queen of Swords in reverse here, okay? So you'll cut it out. You've made decisions. You might get some aftermath, or people, trying to talk their way around and manipulate the situation. Some of you using children, all right? Just saying, for a select few of you. And it's just like, it will really get you back up, okay? Yeah, look, what you don't see coming towards you is lack of reciprocity, and somebody wasn't putting work into the situation. Or this is you no longer wanting to put work into the situation. For some of my female viewers out there, I think you've emotionally switched off from situations quite some time ago, but you realize this decision that I'm making here is going to cause tower moments, okay? It's not to be taken lightly, is it, Leo? But yeah, you're not putting work into anything now which is non-reciprocal. Okay, good for you, Leo. Yeah, and some of you are hopeful. Okay, you're getting your optimism back. The more you cut out things that don't serve you, Leo, throughout the last couple of weeks of October, you start to feel this optimism. What else is out there, So we had the Two of Wands, just trying to make the decision. I know it's going to cause tower moments. And then, do you know what? My energy is I'm letting go. Some of you are letting go of relationships, people that you've been living in living situations, just for some of you. But you're hopeful. Okay? Three of Wands is a very hopeful card. Okay? Some of you might be thinking about traveling with the Three of Wands there. Okay? Or might be thinking about somebody overseas. Just saying. Like giving up where you're living and relocating for some of you. Yeah. Outside influences, something didn't go in somebody's favor. Might be somebody quite smug around you, I'm just saying, Leo. And they might have been acting quite smug for a long time, but I think really now you are dead set on cutting anything like that out of your life. And I think there might be somebody there who can't believe you're doing it, to be honest. Okay, in your fears, we've got, will I ever meet the one? And, fearing, will I ever get a brand new start? After we've built something, We make those decisions. They do cause tower moments. Sometimes we've got to start again. And it's a fear of yours, damn, I've got to do it all again. But what's backing you up is hope, okay? And optimism with the Three of Wands, all right? So, trust your soul, Leo. Yeah, you're coming out of confusion. There is no new start. You don't want a new start with the Page of Wands in reverse there, okay? Seven of Cups in reverse, coming out of illusions, confusion, no longer an option. There's no new start here, okay? So some of you might be quite definite about ending situations. Let's have a look. I just want to have a look at what's this decision, okay? That in the recent past, you're trying to decide. I know it's going to cause upheaval. What was that all about, Leo, for you? Recent past. What was that about for Leo? Somebody might have. There was a lack of reciprocity for some of you, and somebody acted like they didn't care. Okay, might have been a defense mechanism, which is outdated. And somebody might have been a little bit controlling. Okay, but your focus is you're cutting anything out, Leo, because I don't think you see a future. Okay, no new starts and all this kind of thing, but it was something to do with somebody might have taken you for granted, Leo. I'm just saying, I needed attention for all the wrong reasons, and you gave it freely too freely because you're a loving person, right? A loving fire sign, and people can treat you like doormats. And when you start to wake up and go, you know what, this isn't working for me, after you've been maybe threatening to do it for some time, and now you're actually doing it, Leo. And I think this person, and then life got in the way. So, you might have continued for a lot of my female viewers while you're emotionally checking out long before you're even leaving. Does that make sense? And that's normally what happens, right? Just for a select few, not a personal reading, but there might be somebody overseas, just a select few of you that you might want to be more than friends with this person after you're getting yourself out, leaving relationships, and some of you might be traveling, but you might want to be more than friends with somebody. Okay, I don't need that deck. What am I doing? So let's have a look. If it is about love, Leo, throughout the last couple of weeks of October, let's have a few messages for love for you. Okay, Leo. Some messages about love. Leo. Yeah, a lot of you don't feel that it's safe to love a particular person, okay? And some of you might still be trapped in situations, living situations, which are difficult to get out with. But the undercurrent of that reading was you freeing yourself, So it's coming, Leah. Free yourself. It's time to take back control of your life. Okay, came out in reverse. So some of you, and then we've got unrequited love, but it came out in reverse. So, there was love there. There still is love there, but maybe that's on your part. And what you're doing is something out of self-preservation here, Leo, throughout the last couple of weeks of October. Maybe you don't want to do it. You might be looking further afield now because it wasn't enough for you, whatever the situation might be, Leo, and it's maybe gone on too long now, and maybe it can't be healed. Sometimes if we haven't nipped things in the bud, they just get worse and worse. And then life gets in the way and we drift apart. But for a lot of you, my female viewers out there, you've emotionally switched off quite some time ago. The rest is just, life and the practicalities catching up now. I know it's going to cause a bit of a tower moment, to make this choice. But, I don't really see a brand new start here. And I'm coming out of confusion about it. I'm no longer confused about it. Willing to let it go and be optimistic about the future. Something for you to consider, all right, throughout the last couple of weeks of October, something that might be quite important to your healing moving forward, Leo. Something to pay attention to, or, as I say, consider, right? Leo. Seeing perspective, truth, knowledge, and clarity. Okay, so you might start to see the writing on the wall and see very clearly throughout the last couple of weeks of October, making decisions to cut things out. Okay, I think you're using your intuition. Okay, the color purple might be quite significant. Okay, throughout the last couple of weeks of October, but it's almost like when we're in a decision making process, we're trying to decide using logic, something else kicks in intuitively. There's something else out there, more in line with who I am. But again, the home has come up, so the home might be quite important when you're in your decision making process, when you're leaving things behind. Shelter, safety, nurturing, and warmth. So the color red, okay, that's the root chakra. But home and stability might be quite important, or for you to consider. And as I say, some of you guys are thinking of relocating there, okay? And it might be somewhere a little bit further afield, all right? You might be sowing that seed of thought throughout the last couple of weeks of October. I did love, didn't I? Let's have a look. This King of Cups in reverse. What is this? Who is this person? What is that all about? The King of Cups in reverse. Let's have a look. This might be someone, Leo, that you were never really sure about how they felt. This is someone that they might be a little bit nonchalant, and pretend they don't care and all these kind of things. And it's like, do I mean anything to you? There might have been times when they start to lead the situation. Great, okay. I'm just wondering, was there someone that liked to keep their options open? So, sometimes people can be in relationships and situations, right? But they're not fully present. It's not because they're out there cheating or anything like that, but they're not really there, to build a solid foundation. Four of Wands in reverse. But it looks like you're optimistic. You're keeping things moving. You're coming out of confusion. There's no new start with this particular person, whoever this might be for you, Leo. Apply it to your situation. Don't make it fit, guys. Obviously, it's not a personal reading. Remember, something else that's going to be quite important for the last couple of weeks of October for you guys. Freedom wanted to show itself there. I am the same as everybody else, but with different challenges, and it's like envy in reverse. Now, Leo, back to the center of this reading. It's like, you know what? I'm not doing jealousy or people that try to mess with my emotions, trying to make me feel jealous, these kind of things, all right? Envy. I'm bigger than that, no time for that. So that's going to be quite important, Let's have a look. If you're a song, Leo, okay, throughout the last couple of weeks, the lyrics might mean something, the band might mean something, the melody might evoke certain feelings within you that are there for healing, being bubbling up to the surface. Okay, give it one listen. If it's not your genre, give it a miss. Okay, we got a song by Ryan Adams, okay, Shiver and Shake. And that's all about breadcrumbs, that song. Okay. So for some of you, major decision time throughout October, maybe you've sown the seeds of decision making, but you realize that, it's going to cause tower moments, but you are optimistic. And that might be the passionate driving force that helps you to decide to cut something out once and for all, Leo. One of these, this is a positive message to leave you with, right? It's called Pass Around the Smile, this deck. It's actually just all positive messages. They're great. Something for Leo. What does Leo need to keep in their back pocket as a little mantra? Empathize. Instead of judging or gossiping, empathize with this person. Try to see their point of view. Choose only to see through love. And what can that be? Certainly empathize with yourself, Leo. See it through love. That would help you make balanced decisions rather than making emotionally based decisions. Hey, you might still love somebody, but it's just not working. And it really is time to maybe keep it moving now. Doesn't mean to say you got to stop loving that person, but if it's bringing you down, making you feel burdened, you don't want any conflict or drama, happy to let go of the past, tough decisions you've had to make, Leo. Um, but you're coming out of confusion about it. Okay, so you might not actually make that decision and move forward, the last couple of weeks of October, but the wheels are set in motion, and you're going to be using your intuition, and you might get some divine guidance there with, those very spiritual cards that came out, seeing, perspective, truth, knowledge, and clarity. And what was the other one? The third eye chakra. Okay, so you might get some divine inspiration or divine guidance on how to move forward or how to move out of situations and free yourself, with the Eight of Swords there at the start of the reading as an undercurrent, right? So, it looks like quite a powerful month for forward movement, or, taking things forward from a thinking process into practicality and doing something about it. And, I hope it works out well for you, Leo. Where was I going to go now? I think that's about it from me. Look, I hope you enjoyed that. My name's Drew. This is Modern Tarot. If you like the content, please like, share, or subscribe. It means I can continue to do this for free for you. If you want a personal reading, you can reach out on moderntarot.net directly or browse the YouTube Modern Tarot store. And I do my best to give you some clarity on your personal situations. In the meantime, Leo, good luck with that. Keep it moving. And I'll see you back here maybe in November. Take care. Bye.